The Teen Phantom Part 39 in audio. I did not understand what your father meant by his statement. I knew he was uncomfortable talking about it, so I let it go at that. A few days later I heard some advertisement on the radio about what smoking does to you, and it dawned on me. I realized what your father was thinking. Why was I trying to hasten my departure from this earth if I did not believe in life after death? I have never smoked since, and I quit other hazardous things also. Your father is strange. He must know a lot about law. He has had me to do things I did not know what he expected to accomplish by them, but I soon learned. He can be very crafty, steady and clever. There is only one other that I know like him. Who is that? He does not live here in this country. Just a friend, or is he a client? Just a friend. Put our association is confidential, though I should not be having this conversation with you about him. Is he a thin red-haired Irishman with a fiery red beard, and does he have a daughter about my size, and does she have beautiful blonde hair by the name of Mary Ann Stewart? TJ looks at Charlotte as though she had spoken filthy or cursed. No, you couldn't. Yes, I do. I have spent a lot of time with her. She does have a neat father. He is much like my father. She is a very dear friend. I am very close to her and her father. I didn't realize I was dealing with a little underground gang. You are a sneaky bunch. TJ is silent for a time, then speaks with curiosity. It has always puzzled me, how can Mary Ann Stewart perform as she does in her shows in Denver? Any time I have seen her in her home, she did not seem to be the same little girl, though she looked the same. When she performs as Tara Ami in Denver, she has an altogether different personality. But she is a very talented actress. Seeing someone in their home does not portray a very accurate picture of their ability on stage. You do realize that, don't you? Did you ever consider she was only putting on an act when you seen her in her home? I suppose it's possible. I truly do not know what to think anymore. You have a very powerful way of confusing me. What you told me this morning about you having your sources of information about the success of Tara Ami was true then, but I didn't believe you. I wasn't about to make a scene though. It is safe for me to talk about this in here to you, although it is supposed to be confidential. I realize that you know much more about it all than I do. I only get to piece a few straggling pieces together. The whole secret is much more important to you than it is to anyone else. I suppose you and Mary Ann are related in some way. We are cousins. How many generations I am not sure. My great-grandfather's name is Stewart on my mother's side. Charlotte, do you visit her in Ireland or France? Both, but it is much more interesting in France. It truly is. I have spent some wonderful times with her father in the Alps. I have never believed in heaven, but if there is one, that is probably as close to it as I will ever get. TJ, being a shrewd, hard lawyer, you are very gentle and understanding. I see you have a great appreciation for his majestic creation, though you never realized its creator existed. You have a marvelous way of irritating those atheist wounds of mine, don't you? But I love you for it. Charlotte, do we still need to deal with that little kid gangster, sleazy slick in person? Every time I have to deal with him, I have to keep my priorities in the right place, or I would give him a thrashing of his life. Those bodyguards are a nasty looking bunch, especially his main bodyguard, who looked like he would have liked for me to try such a thing. I am not aware of you being the one dealing with him. I thought it was one of your associates. No, it is me. Of course your father has me disguised for my protection. They really don't know who I am. Oh, I understand. Charlotte is stunned with TJ's disclosure. She realizes that it would be appropriate to be disguised. She had not thought of that. It seems a hug amount to be paying them, but I realize your movies would not carry the impact without them. He has almost $100,000 on the books that we owe him, and who knows when he is going to demand his money. I think they could really be a nasty bunch if they were of a mind to be. I really do need the pictures. I am sure it is very difficult for him to get some of them. Yes, it looks impossible for him to be getting such pictures. The major problem, it is very dangerous dealing with that sort of scum. They are truly criminals. The kid must think a lot of you to be doing it without charging you more than the small retainer fee we give him. He is risking his life dealing with those criminals. He doesn't think it is so small. He is very happy with what we give him. It is only in case the law gave some trouble that he will require the rest of the money. It is certainly a strange setup. It is difficult to see you associating with that breed of scum. They are not scum, you just don't understand. Now that you have made their acquaintance quite well, you could just deal with their lawyer, but just leave it between you and me. Are you telling me you have things going of which your father is unaware? Yes, a few I think, but it is only for safety. It is not from lack of respect for my father or anything like that. Of course, from the last few days' experience, I cannot be sure my father is unaware of any of my activities. I think I really should level with you. I am sorry that it humiliated you dealing with Sleazy Slick. You just didn't understand him. They are all great kids. I am grateful that you didn't try giving him a good thrashing. His sidekick is a lethal weapon. He could have torn you apart before you would have known what was happening, but I would not have let him do that to you though. He could have brought you under submission without hurting you. You sound insane. What could you do about it? They all are my very loyal friends, TJ, and they would do nothing that would displease me. TJ is a bit upset now. You keep company with that sort. This is hard for me to believe, and you call them your loyal friends. I am truly sorry, TJ. I was Sleazy Slick and Nikki Ren Chen was my sidekick or main bodyguard. She is a lethal weapon. She would not have hurt you. She would have humiliated you greatly though. I am so sorry. We didn't know you were the one we were dealing with. We didn't know you were so upset with us either. We must have looked uglier and nastier than we thought. In the next 60 seconds, TJ manifests many different emotions. Some bring tears to his eyes. In the end, he loses it in laughter. Charlotte would not have been surprised to see him rolling on the floor. Nikki has nothing over him with her giggling episodes. He finally comes around and gets himself sober. Many things have cleared up in my wee tiny brain. One of the major ones is that I think our great creator put a lot of time and thought into your design and creation. I even think I am starting to savvy his purpose. That makes me very happy, TJ, that you understand. Do you think you could tell me how it is possible to get those ecology pictures? It is quite simple now. Sneaky gets them for me. It isn't all that dangerous. The first ones, Nikki and I had to crawl for miles on our stomachs like lizards, sometimes even in mud and rain. And may I ask who Sneaky is? She is our German Shepherd. TJ looks at Charlotte with baffled doubt. Just a dog? You are a genius. He stares at her in a daze of extreme amazement. Please, TJ, not a genius. I am not a freak. I am just a little 12-year-old girl. I am being honest with life and everyone as best I can. TJ, with a look of sympathy, says, I am sorry. I certainly don't see you as a freak, though I know none like you. It does not make you a genius or a freak. I hope to understand life as you do someday. It will take some time and a heap of honesty. TJ becomes very serious. There is one more subject on which I would like to view your concept. It is concerning global warming and the shortage of fuel. From the political standpoint, I have been concerned. From the political point of view, I see no solution. The present politics is the same as religion, a belief without facts and truth. In fact, lies and slander is the prominent weaponry. The general public seems to have a very good appetite for it. Like a herd of swine, they gobble it up as fast as the politicians pour the slop into the trough. It is just as the farmer slops his pigs. The rich or wealthy of the world are responsible for the pollution of the third world countries. They pretend to boost their economy as an act of humanity, as though they are helping the poor people. Through greed, they have taken advantage of their cheap labor, shipping their goods all over the world and in the end leaving the third world countries with the pollution problem. We should be producing our own goods. Focusing on global warming is as killing a snake by cutting off its tail. It does not kill the snake. Pollution is this Earth's problem. Many die every day because of pollution. Pollution is our problem. It is not global warming. The human race is not as intelligent as they pretend to be. With all the technology they will not use it for their health and well-being. We are destroying ourselves with our emotions. What we consider our freedoms are putting us in bondage and are killing us. In our world today everything we do affects other in some way, yet we think we should be able to live by our emotions, doing anything we please with no concern of how it affects others. We call it freedom, but it is not, it is as plunder. We think we live in a very highly developed society, but it is more lawless than in the beginning of the last century. Crime is just high-tech now. The percentage of crime is higher now than in the beginning of the 19th century. This society has made a mockery of justice. As for your concern with global warming and the shortage of fuel, have you ever considered the fuel that is consumed by mothers that take their child to school and home every day? Then there are those who commute 100 miles a day to work and 100 miles back home. Consider the students that drive cars rather than riding the school bus. If we would live our lives by the fact and truth rather than our emotions, we would consume perhaps 10% of the fuel we consume today. That leaves 90% a waste which pollutes our environment. If we were to build another school, I would like it built all underground. There would be no heating or cooling needed. We would be safe from any storms, and if the temperature rose to an extreme degree we could still survive underground. TJ, when we get the school functioning well, would you consider searching for wealthy people, those who would be interested in building factories underground and homes underground close by? Then we could find people that had good spirits, great values set on truth and justice to work in them. There would even be farms underground. I think that would be so neat. Everything would be profit sharing. TJ looks at Charlotte with a mixture of emotions. Then it is very pleasant, finally a transfixed stare. It is as though he is looking right through her and beyond. So, you do have in mind to create heaven here on earth. Your concept has saturated my intellect like a soggy old sponge. I am looking forward with great anticipation. I see the time that I can put my efforts to that great project, Charlotte, and you have given my youth back to me. I realize now that you have in mind to build a supreme civilization. This is like the dawning of a new world. I see the Truth and Life Academy, the beginning of that new world. It truly is. I feel very close to you, TJ. I have another dear father. TJ lowers his head with his hands covering his face. Charlotte realizes he is having problems with his emotions. She gets up and strolls across the great hall with a bit of emotion herself. She thinks of many wonderful things that have transpired in her life. When she returned, TJ has a pleasant smile when he speaks. Shouldn't we be getting back? Yes, we don't need to spend any more time on business. Charlotte, you have destroyed my past. I may seem like a father to you, but I feel like a little kid starting life all over again. As they leave the great hall, TJ looks concerned. I have always wondered, why has your father chosen me to represent the two of you in your legal affairs with him, knowing that I was an atheist? It doesn't make any sense to me. I cannot say that I totally understand, but it may be that he considers it less hazardous to be ignorant of our great Creator and realize that truth is the answer to all things, rather than to have a warped concept of our great Creator and having no respect for the truth. I am sure my father was able to see that you possessed a very good spirit, underneath all of that hard crusty crud. TJ, with a little smile and slight shake of his head, speaks. You have no fear of putting things as you see them, do you, Charlotte?